It's early college admission season, which means it's time for students to learn important lessons about rejection. Schools and places like Lower Merion are bringing in counselors to help students cope, because it can be a pretty big deal to get that, acceptance letter or a rejection letter. So we want to get to Karen, who's with a psychologist.
Thank you. So, Alex, it's one of those times of year, like right going into the winter break, where you found out you didn't get in. So, like, what now when you didn't get in? We brought in Dr. Jaime Zuckerman to discuss that one, because it's great when you do get in, and we see all those kids and they're posting on Instagram, and rightfully so, they're so happy. But when you're on the receiving end and you didn't get into the first choices, if you applied early, which has become the trend, what do? You know your kid's suffering.
Yeah.
How do you say, look, I feel your pain, but we got to move forward?
Yeah. So first is, I always tell parents, watch your own emotions, because oftentimes the colleges that kids apply for are maybe alumni, or maybe they're schools that their parents wanted them to go to that maybe they weren't as good of a fit for. So you want to make sure that you monitor your own emotions with your children. We know they're upset. Kind of keep it in check for them a little bit, but validate their experiences, validate their emotions, let them be appropriately sad, let them sit with it. We always say rejection's a part of life, but it is. And so I think it's important to let them know that it's okay to be upset about this.
You feel personally rejected.
Yes.
They didn't accept you. They're accepting other people.
Right.
How do we teach our kids that it really isn't just about you? Because the other thing is they spend a lot of time and effort putting these essays together, probably longer than they've ever written in their lives, and they didn't get picked. But how do we get the message that's okay, and we have to deal with rejection?
Let them know that them not getting into the college has nothing to do with them as a person. And really drive that home with them, that them getting in has nothing to do with their character. It has nothing to do with them as a human being. It has to do with oftentimes variables that are out of their control, that sometimes it's just people who are reading your applications look at things differently, and that it has nothing to do with them as a person, and really stress that with them.
How do we get them motivated for whatever the plan B is for like sort of shifting, like now we're going to buckle down and apply to all these other schools? How do we get them excited about that?
So human beings in general, we function so much better when we have options, even if those options aren't our first choices. So you want to remind them that they have options, that not getting into the school that they wanted does not mean they're not getting into college, that they have choices and they have options, and that automatically gives us this cognitive flexibility to be able to kind of wiggle out of that corner that we feel in. The other thing is, watch your language with schools, calling something your safety school, calling something your, you can say top choice, but you want to be careful with safety schools, because a lot of these safety schools now are really difficult to get into.
They're really competitive.
They're really hard.
Yes.
So just, again, I'm big on words, so just watch your language of safety schools and maybe just say your other options.
What happens when, I saw this, with my own kid, people are happy, justifiably so, and they're posting on social media. You can feel like you're the only kid in the world when you're looking at your social, your Instagram, whatever, and you see that all these other friends are going to these places. How do you deal with that in that component?
So if in the beginning, before you know this is going to happen, you have to understand as a kid, this is going to be all over social media, and there is very little we can do about that. From the kid's own personal standpoint, they can either choose to restrict certain people that they follow that maybe they don't want to see. They don't have to block them, but they can restrict it. Try to go off social media if you can. Maybe don't tell people what schools you're applying to, so that when the admissions, the acceptances and the rejections do come out, people aren't asking you and texting you or sending you messages or waiting for your picture to show up. But social media definitely makes it hard.
Well, we have to help our kids navigate it every step of the way. Doctor, thank you so much. We always appreciate it.